Hey, so I just wanted to talk to you guys just quickly about an image that I took about a year ago, which you can just see here on my screen. So I entered this image into a couple of competitions in 2017 and in 2018. So the one in 2017 was the Epson Pano Awards, which I got a bronze award, which is for basically anybody who enters a photo and is able to score above 75, I think it was. And then the other one was D Photo magazine, which is a New Zealand magazine. So they run a Amateur Photographer of the Year 2018, and I entered their landscape category, and I was lucky enough to come third. So in this magazine that I came third in, there was some commentary from one of the judges, from a guy called Grant Sheehan, and I just thought I'd read that out because it's really interesting what he said. He says that this image plays visual tricks with the viewer, with no point of reference as to the size and scale of the subject. It also possesses a sense of elemental power, with water ripples emanating out from the central point of the cascading waterfall column. But I think it's really nice what Grant said there, and I think the overall feeling of this picture was to capture what he says is the elemental power, and to focus really on the water coming down, the waterfall hitting the rocks, and the spray coming out of the bottom, which you can see just kind of ripples out and draws your eye into the photo and anchors it in the center, and just kind of makes you think about, what's causing that, which is what I tried to capture with this photo. So I just wanted to do a little message about this and what this means for me. So I've been doing photography now for about 5 years, and over those years I've sporadically entered some of these competitions, and then in 2017 to have this recognition from Epson, and then to go on and come third in the D Photo magazine kind of really was really pleasing and overwhelming for me, to the point where it influenced me and motivated me quite a lot to launch my own website. So I've got my own website now, and I'm starting to build on that, and it's to get this recognition has been really encouraging. So I'm really happy that I was able to be recognized for my work. So there's a bit of a story to this image. So I tried to take this image about 3 years ago. Me and my wife, we did a 2-week camper van trip around New Zealand's South Island, and for a couple of days we were at Milford Sound. This is actually taken in Milford Sound, which is a beautiful place. For those of you who've been there, I'm sure you can understand what I mean. And the year that we went 3 years ago, it was really wet and rainy, which is quite interesting because when I went in 2017, it was really sunny, and it's a completely different place. Like in winter, when it's raining, there's lots and lots of waterfalls that cascade down the cliff sides of the sound, and in the summer there isn't that many other than the big waterfalls. So 3 years ago, me and my wife turn up to Milford Sound, and it's pouring down with rain, and we go on the boat trip that takes right into the sound, which is how I took this photo. And it's just pouring down with rain, and lens is getting wet and splashed, and I'm trying to wipe the rain off the lens, and I've got spray coming onto the front of my lens from the waterfall itself. So when I got the images back home and I was looking at them, it was just kind of just a sea of spray across the front of my lens, and it wasn't a successful image at all. So in 2017, I got another opportunity to go there, and it was actually a family trip. Some of my family had come over from the UK to visit me here in New Zealand, and we got the coach down to Milford Sound and got on the boat, and we got there. It was a beautiful day, blue skies, no clouds, and we went round the sound on the tour, and I had my camera with me because I knew that I was potentially in for a good opportunity to take this photo. And this waterfall is actually at the end of the tour, the boat goes out into the Sound, and it goes out to the end of the Sound where it meets the sea, and then it comes back in. The whole thing takes about an hour, and on the way back in, there's this waterfall, and I'm on a boat with, say, kind of 200-300 other people, and this large touristy type boat kind of pulls right in. The bow comes right into the waterfall, like really close. So I'm kind of stood there at the front with my camera, kind of holding my camera above my head, and I knew I was going to get this shot, and I set my camera up in a way so that I was going to nail it, because Milford Sound's not easy to get to, and it's quite far away. And yeah, so I really wanted to make sure I got this shot. So I put the ISO in auto, and I shoot with the Fujifilm. Yeah, so everything's manual. So I had the ISO in auto. I had my shutter speed at around 1/500th, because I knew that I wanted to make sure I get a sharp shot. So I set my exposure, and I had my ISO in auto, and I had my aperture set to f4. So I knew that if I had those settings, I was gonna nail the shot. And I had my light meter on spot mode, and I pretty much just metered for the light, for the water. So I just got my spot meter on there, and that's where I focused, and I just took this shot. And yeah, I fired off a few different shots. It was at 35mm, and the boat kind of pulled in, and I took a few shots on the way in, and then it kind of stops, and then it comes back out, it reverses back out again, and I took a few shots on there. And interestingly, when I got the photos back onto my computer, it was the first shot which was the best shot, which was really pleasing. So yeah. So I guess that's the kind of the story. I went there the first time and wasn't successful, but I knew there was a second chance when I went the second time, and it was really good to get that second shot. So I just wanted to quickly say thank you to Epson for this recognition for the first, and also to D-Photo. These guys, really good photography magazine for New Zealand, lots of exposure for photographers like myself, and also for the sponsor Pro Photo, which so there was for coming third, and all the winners in fact from the competition, we got invited to a gallery up in Auckland where our images were on show, which was really cool because I've obviously never done anything like that before. So yeah, I went up there, and they had my images, on the wall. And there was a prize giving, and I got to meet the sponsors, and there was heaps of other sponsors there from Sigma and Fujifilm and a few other local camera shops. And yeah, so went up and got my photo taken with the sponsors. And yeah, so I'd just like to thank you, the sponsor, for this photo, which was Pro Photo, and I got a free tripod and a camera strap, which is really cool. So yeah, I mean, just final thing to say is, for other photographers, I would definitely recommend, if you kind of 2 or 3 years into taking photography taking photos quite seriously, definitely enter these competitions, and don't be disheartened if you don't get recognition straight away, because that'll come over time. And when you do eventually get it, it's hugely motivating and rewarding, and it just gives that little bit of reassurance that you're kind of doing the right thing. And yeah, so thank you for listening, and hope you enjoyed it.